All right.
Because, like, we should probably get that conversation in the thing. So here we go. 3, 2, 1.
What's up?
We live.
We are
You ever
live.
see Scary Movie? You ever see Scary Movie? Everybody's like, "What's
That's a
Oh
beer
my
up?"
god.
commercial. That's
Oh,
that's from
really?
beer. Yeah, it was a
That's a
meme.
beer
Yeah, it was a Budweiser commercial back in the day that kind of blew up and went viral, and then it started getting parodied everywhere. By the time Scary Movie did it, everybody was already kind of sick of it.
Oh my god.
Like they were kind
Oh
of behind the
Lord.
curve on that. But yeah, that's like an old Budweiser commercial. But anyways, how's it going, everybody? We're just starting. We were talking
It's
about
going.
It's going. Yeah.
before going live. We were talking about stuff, and I was like, "Shit, we need to go live so that way this conversation gets recorded."
Yes.
I was like, that'd be a waste. None of my
Just a little bit.
none of my people have shown up yet. They'll be here soon enough. They'll get the alerts. But so you were talking about nerfing Jade. What was that, Saki? You wanted Jade to get nerfed? That sounds like a
No,
curious thing for
okay.
you to want.
So, oh my Lord. Okay, so I passed by everybody's streams, right? If you're in the community and you stream, 9 out of 10 times I'm gonna be in your stream either lurking or chatting, depending on what's going on, right? And like I was watching a very notable streamer, okay, who has done his fair share of winning top eights, right? And I heard him talking about Jade and how Jade's down 4 needs to be nerfed. And I think he mentioned purple, or he mentioned purple a little bit later. And of course, in the chat, everybody was saying like death to Jade, and people were like agreeing with him. And I'm like, well, I don't think that they should nerf anything about her. If anything, they should fix her or buff her damage, right? Because I'm for the buff damage. Because if you can have Sechion with her godlike stagger, you can give Jade a little more damage. But anyways, um, and I got frustrated because I was basically told that I'm wrong for thinking that way when I've been playing that character since day one. What are you talking about? I know that character better than like I know that character better as the Jade, like actual Jade players. Like I'm not talking about Combat League Jade players. I'm talking about actual Jade players that go out to tournaments and actually
Jade
play her.
Blades.
Like for example, Cade HD, like he plays Jade,
Yeah.
and what's interesting is that he's saying the same thing that I'm saying, and it's that as Jade, we are working twice as hard in a match, and it's really hard to play her. And we were discussing about obviously all these characters, um, all of these characters beforehand, right? And how like for example Kung Lao and Baraka have to open you up for that one damaging combo.
Yeah.
If they don't do it the entire set, then they just lost because that's the combo that they need to land, right? And of course everybody has their like everybody has their their stuff, like their things to their character, right, that make them annoying,
Yeah.
right? And you can either lab it or take it, basically, right? But I
Yeah.
don't think everybody should be worried about Jade or about Collector. If I'm being very honest with you, we should be worried about characters like Jackie, Cetrion, I would say even maybe even Joker a little bit. We should be worried about the meta right now to actually change it instead of these characters that are honestly, if you're only having trouble in Combat League and maybe once or twice in tournament, then
That's just a matchup issue.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Well, I think it comes down to the fact that like certain characters are just not fun to fight. And like Jade is one of those characters that like if you're beating her ass, then okay, it's fun. But if Jade is just holding up back and throwing shuriken the whole fight, like that's where the issue that like I don't think that that's good. I don't think that that needs to be nerfed. I don't think her buttons are all that great. But like
Yeah.
yo, nobody wants to sit there and just like chase a Jade down who's in the upper corner of the screen.
Yeah, it's like people just really like to go at the characters that they find annoying or like the Combat League demon characters. Like if they're like,
But
this
like
character's annoying, get rid of
the
them.
same thing can be said, right? Oh, by the way, Badger says that Tatsurim says that you're not live for some reason.
What?
Hmm, let me
I'm
check.
looking. I have check. I have my chat going. I
Might
am live.
might
My
want to refresh
Oh,
then, Taturium. You might want to refresh.
yeah.
oh, because I
Um,
think you're still with Saki. Like every time I click on your stream, it goes to hers.
or you want to then type unhost on the channel. That
Okay,
sometimes Twitch does
well, that
that.
makes sense.
How
Yeah.
am I
So technically,
hosting?
you are.
Okay.
Oh, it
Slash
says that you're
unhost.
hosting.
Yeah, slash unhost on your channel, and it should clear that up. Sometimes Twitch leaves it like on the channel, and it's
Even when
weird.
I'm live.
There we
What the
go.
fuck?
There
I
we
Oh.
know.
go. Okay, now it's working.
Usually when I
Yeah, it's
go
like you
live,
were.
it cancels that. But whatever.
Twitch be weird like
So
that.
like as I was saying, like I totally get it. People don't like the whole down two nonsense. People don't like the whole zoning nonsense. Like I totally understand that. Like don't get me wrong, I'm a J player. Sometimes that's in my favor, right? Especially when people don't know how to handle zoning. Like that is super. That is something that's like a lot. Like it happens a lot. Um, but like on that same token, the same thing can be said about Katana. The same thing can be said about Cetrion. The same thing can even be said about Scarlet that just does Blood Tentacle. The same thing can even be said by Shang who has even a better zoning than Jade and probably and
Cool.
even uh, like probably even like better than Jade because there's actually like there's corpse drops and then there's the hell sparks and then there's mid spark like mid fireball. So like
Yeah.
you're going through hell with against Shang. Um
Yeah, but
that
the thing
is
is,
like
the problem is that Shang is doing a lot of shit.
sorry.
Like he's doing different projectiles. Like Jade has to do that, but that's not the experience most people have with Jade. Is just
Oh,
ground
jump
fire,
back.
jump back, air shuriken the whole match, and and that's not a good tactic. Like that's not what makes her good. And most of the time when Jades do that, they suck and they lose. But like nobody wants to fight it. It's just like I know how to. It's like fighting Scorpion. It's like I know how to beat this, but do I want to?
Yeah, it's
Okay,
like I don't
but
feel like
again,
it.
again, the same thing can be said about Katana, who just do fans. The same
Yeah.
thing can be said about Shang, who just does corpse drop and sparks. Like nobody likes fighting those characters, but if we ask for a nerf on them, like are we really gonna waste our energy on these characters that it's kind of part of their part of their like their kit, whereas we have to like be worried about the other characters that actually are annoying,
Yeah.
like for example Jackie and hot box faces and like other like there's other more important shit than having to
Yeah.
say nerf Jade's down 4, nerf her zoning when the character is okay. Like people fail to realize that the character herself is a character based on matchup. If she doesn't do good in a matchup, she's really it's really frustrating. Like
Yeah.
I love you,
Like
hijinks.
Jade.
I'm sorry. I'm
You try.
sorry, hijinks. Please stop. No, come back. You know this is true. You know I
No,
will
I'm not.
continue to complain about Jackie.
I don't think Jade is a problem. I honestly think she's one of the weaker characters. Like, I think with Jade, like especially Emerald Defender, like if she doesn't get an early life lead, she's already lost.
I
Yeah,
agree.
she's one of those characters that's kind of like she really shines in her counter picking matchups. But then
Yeah,
other than that, it's like she's kind of just like she's just there.
yeah, I like
Yeah, she's
because
just there. So
she's
I
so stuck in fucking zoning and footsies. Like she can't do like a whole lot else. She has to
Yeah.
get the hits in the neutral, or she has to zone you out. And if you can't zone when you're losing, that's just you're not
Yeah.
winning, right? So she has to go in when she has to go in to make up a health deficit to try and make a comeback. Like you're asking for the impossible because it's like I have to go aggressive and rush this guy down to land a hit to catch this up,
someone
and I don't have the tools to do that.
someone actually told me a while back ago when I was first learning Jade that she was an auto neutral character, and I do
Uh,
agree. Um, because she does kind of play in a style where if you did play on autopilot, majority of the times it kind of can get you by. However, when it gets to the higher levels, that's when she kind of is she's a little bit tougher, Like it's a lot tougher to get through, but like I just don't agree when you have other problems in the game that shouldn't be something that we should focus on. Number one, and number two, I don't think she's a character that a lot of people should be like stressing so much in like a tournament setting. Like in offline, she can't hit one of her only launchers that will do probably 30% if
Yeah,
she
that four
hits it,
two one, you're
right?
never hitting that offline. I've seen Jade
You are never,
try
and
so hard to hit me with that shit in
I've
tournament.
tried. No, I'm one of them. I've tried, and it's impossible. The mix up, like the overhead into the low spark, is a fake mix up. Offline, that's easily fuzzied,
You don't
easily
even
like
need to
this.
fuzzy, you just react.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was
Um,
gonna say I can get up there online most of the time,
her
unless
her
I'm just
back
like,
her back 3-4-3 is a decent stagger, but people can still mash on it if you don't
yeah,
time it right. Even though she does have a nice, that's like 11 frame mid, even though it's kind of nice, she is still it's still mash proof, where she kind of still has to play a really hard mind game off of. It's also flawless blockable, so if you try to take that risk to do the full string, um and people aren't conditioned, it's still flawless blockable. So like, and if we talk about her zoning, yes, she has the air shurikens, but like her mid shurikens and her low spark can be short hopped and ducked on a couple. Like it is nowhere near like how Cetrion and Shang is, where you actually have to flawless block some of those.
Yeah.
Well,
So I don't know, but again, everybody to each their own. I just
uh,
don't like it that when I'm trying to give, like, I've been learning recently that some people are like some people are like actually so, I wouldn't say so full of themselves. I would just say more of like that this scene kind of doesn't like to have discussions.
no, they
And when
don't.
I will say that discussions aren't like to argue who's right or wrong. It's like literally, here's this info that you probably don't know the other side, and this is probably why it's affecting it. But like, let's agree to disagree. And it's like,
Well, because
yeah,
people are so
discussion,
emotional
NRS
about that
community.
stuff.
I
Like
know,
they,
right?
it's like the same thing how I get shit for saying that Kung Lao's bad, and I'm like, yeah, dude, it does suck when I fucking touch you twice and you're dead, and I just make you explode and I get full wall carry. But like, are you looking at the rest of the match where like I'm struggling and like every time you launch me, I can't break my combo because otherwise now I have no offense. Like an entire mechanic breakaway is not available to me. Like I don't even get to use that mechanic at all. And that mechanic fucks me. If you break away in my combos, I'm dead. Like at
Yeah,
all.
that's
Like
true.
period.
Like,
And
okay.
like but people are so emotional about it, like, oh man, like I hate fighting this and like this needs to get nerfed, and it's like they don't try to even understand the matchup or anything like that, or lab it, or think about from the perspective of the other player, or even just counterpick. Like if you're struggling so fucking much with Jade, there are characters that blow her ass up. Why don't you just counterpick?
Yep.
Like
Yeah,
Exactly.
people hate Labbit.
it's not like
I
Cetrion
just
where there's no
I just feel like
counterpick.
it gets emotional, and this is where like the emotional intelligence comes into play. Like I just feel like if you can't handle talking to people without having to use like your plate, like I'm not saying that every person's opinion is um not valid, because at the end of the day it all depends. Like it depends on again what you're saying and how
Yeah.
the person takes it. Like, someone could also be saying something completely wrong, right? And like you could be like, hey, I don't think that's how it is. But like, open the door to discussion, remain respectful, don't treat like don't treat the person as if they don't know anything, because that's what I hate about it. And that's why I kind of hate it when I had that discussion on that person's stream. It's like, why do you have to doubt me if I'm actually giving you info and I'm
Yeah.
actually telling you the other side? And like, I have credibility. This is not just someone who plays Jade on a Combat League level. This is someone who's played her on a on a tournament level, both online and offline. So you know, like I kind of would like more respect on that, and I feel like this past week I've learned that nobody really has respect except for the very few that I actually associate with.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I stay out of all of the discussions, anyways, because all of my hot takes are always fucking. Everybody hates all my hot takes, and then I end up being right half the time, but nobody ever gives me any fucking credit for it.
That's why hot takes are so hot, because everybody gets heated about them because
Yeah.
nobody wants to talk.
But I mean, if I could understand if I was talking out of my ass and I wasn't like proven to be right a lot of the time, and like especially like with Kung Lao, people are like, "Oh man, you don't know what you're talking about." I'm like, "The fuck I don't." Like, do you know who the fuck I am? I've been streaming this character fucking 10 hours a day for the past fucking year and a half. Like, I know more about this
Yeah.
character than anybody else. And even then, look at
That's
just
what
results.
I'm saying.
Like,
That is what I'm saying.
if
Like
you
you don't have to like don't I get it. You place top 8. I get it. You're one of the best players, you know, out there, especially in your region. Like I totally understand it, but that doesn't mean that your word is God. And
Well,
that's where I'm like
It's
that's
law.
people
Yeah.
people try, and I got this beef because I just recently posted my tier list on YouTube, and a lot of people kind of disagree with it, and a lot of that like beef just comes from the fact that when people theory craft too much in this game and they don't look at actual results, and people disagreed with a lot of my placings, and I'm like, listen, dude, nobody's put in any fucking work. Right, so like somebody said, okay, you put Raiden as top tier, but Aaron Black as mid tier, but you think that Aaron Black is cheap, just like Raiden, and I'm like, yeah, because Raiden, the Raiden we have now, we never saw in tournament, right? It came out with Aftermath. There were no offline tournaments, so no one could possibly have proven whether or not the character was good. We couldn't get results. Whereas Aaron Black, in his state, has been around for a long fucking time. If he was as cheap as people think he is, somebody would have put in work. Somebody, you think Sonic Fox wouldn't have played his favorite fucking character if he thought that character wasn't cheap? Hell no.
Yeah.
Like, Aaron Black, he says Aaron Black is his favorite character. He would play Aaron Black if Aaron Black were that cheap. Aaron Black had tons of chances to place in tournament, and only Hayate was able to do it, and not even consistently. So, like,
Sure.
Yeah.
but with Raiden, right, and when I made my tier list, I put an asterisk. I said Raiden is contingent on the fact that, like, on paper he sounds really, really good. In actual play, he's really, really cheap, but he doesn't have the results, and only because it was impossible for him to get offline results. So keep that with a grain of salt. And people are like, you're just playing favorites because you fucking think Raiden is cheap. And I'm like, no, like, if offline comes out tomorrow and Raiden is shit, I'm still right, because I said asterisks. I'm not saying he's the best. I'm saying he potentially could be, and the reason why I want to place him high is because we have not had any way to prove that he isn't. But every other character I placed high is because they constantly placed high, and people don't look at that. They're like, oh, there's more to the meta than tournaments, and I'm like, no, there really isn't. There really isn't.
True. It's true. Like there is more. Like sorry, there's no more than tournaments. That's where everybody is basing their tier list on, and they're not basing it on Combat League. Well, who places that shit and bases their tier list on Combat League? Seriously,
Like
With the way
Koizi,
that it's
that's
set
it.
up. Oh, no, Lord.
Koizi bases the tier list on Combat League, but everybody else like thinks that online is a fucking joke. Anybody that matters, anybody whose opinion that means anything, that says online is a joke. And I caught a lot of flack because I don't have different tiers for mid tier. In my tier list, there's top tier, there's mid tier, there's bottom tier. That's it. And they're like, well, but somebody is, this person is like C tier and this person is B minus. And I'm like, dude, what's the point of having 5 mid tiers? At the end of the day, people look at a tier list for one thing and one thing alone. What character should I pick? I want to win. Who's the best character? I don't care about winning. Who is the worst character so I at least know who to avoid, right? So you have your top tier. You want to win. You want to win in tournament. These characters will get you there. You have the bottom tier. These characters are shit. Don't pick them unless you're just trying to be weird. And then everybody else is just fine. And they're like, no, you got to have a C tier, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, that's just fanboy shit, right? All tier lists is fanboy shit. My character isn't top tier, right? Oh, man, like, Scorpion isn't top tier. But you know what, man? He's better than Sonya. And it's like, dude, all you're doing is fanboying your favorite character. Your tier list serves no purpose. There's no purpose to prove that Scorpion is better than Sonya. Who fucking cares? If who is better matters, you're playing top tier.
Oh, this man Badger, he'd be so passionate.
I love Badger. I love Badger because he's one of the passionate muse in this community that actually, when he speaks in passion, it's because he's really trying to let people know, like, come on, like, we need to
Yeah.
wake up and smell the coffee, basically.
Well, the thing is, I
I
left it
mean,
open.
man cares.
I said anybody that can dispute what I've said, like give me some good reasons, back it up with data. I backed up everything with data and I gave good like reasons. I didn't just say, "Oh yeah, like,
Yeah.
Kung Lao's my main, he's the best character." Or no, he's the worst character. Like I just said, "Yeah, he's kind of bad. He's mid-tier," right? I didn't play any bias. I backed everything up with data and I said, "Give me a counter argument. Tell me one reason why there should be like 3 mid-tiers." Nobody could come
Yeah.
up with a good reason. It was just like, well, it doesn't give the full picture. And I'm like, what picture do you want?
Yeah,
You just
it
want to
always
know if
is.
your favorite character is better than
Yup.
someone else's favorite character. That's not the purpose of a tier list. They're like, well, tier lists cover different things. And I'm like, yeah, well, you can make a tier list on who's the most attractive character. I don't give a shit about that. Like, my tier list is
Yeah.
what character is going to win me fucking combo breaker, right?
Just gonna say it. Collector would be S tier.
As
Oh,
far as
sick.
attractiveness, no, he has Ninja Turtle.
He's a pretty little. He's a pretty little goblin. I don't fucking care.
No,
They
nobody's
should have let him
attracted.
keep the dreads. They made
Nobody-
him bald.
Nobody likes Ninja Turtle feet. Nobody finds that attractive.
Shiva maybe.
Now April O'Neil spent like years with a bunch of Ninja Turtles, and even she didn't like their feet. And you would think some like fucking Stockholm syndrome would have kicked in by then, but nope, nobody likes Ninja Turtle feet.
I really just busted out some facts too. Like I can't. Like I don't have a rebuttal for that.
Right?
And at the end of the day, everybody just needs to be a little more open to actually
Yeah.
hearing the other side. It shouldn't just you shouldn't just say, well, I think this and this is the right way.
Yeah, it's just like nobody wants to discuss. It's like or like how Badger thinks Aaron Black is like mid tier. Like for me, I think he's stupid, but I'm not gonna be like, oh Badger, you're dumb. Your opinion doesn't matter just because of like.
Yeah.
his
Well, Aaron
one
Black is
playthrough.
stupid. I put
There's
him
a lot
mid
of
tier
that.
for a very specific reason. Aaron Black is stupid, but it's matchup dependent because Aaron Black looks
Yeah.
like a fucking joke against Jackie.
that.
And that's my
Like-
thing with my tier list is like, dude, these characters are top tier because they don't have too many bad matches. And if you enter a competition, you're probably guaranteed to fight 1 or 2. And if you're an
Yep.
Aaron Black player, yeah, Aaron Black just destroys Johnny Cage. But that, like, what's he going to do when you fight a Jackie? And Aaron Black doesn't do good against Jackie.
Oh man, I feel like you can ask that to anybody though. For any character, what are you gonna do when you run into Jackie, huh? It's like, that's like even like her quote unquote counter picks are just like at best even matchups.
Right? People don't take that into consideration. Everybody just wants their character to be top tier. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's just,
I mean, I can understand it because let's be honest, everybody downplays their mains at least a little bit. I feel.
oh, yeah, everybody says I downplay my main, like, the most. They're like,
Yeah,
You're just
because
downplaying.
everyone else downplays, but everybody who mains said character doesn't feel like they downplay. Like I don't feel like I downplay collector, but everybody says I do. I'll take that one on the chin.
I mean, welcome to the club. Everybody says that I'm the prime Lao down player, and I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
like, give me a break, man. You guys see me struggling with shit. You see my fucking fatal blow whiffing. You see me, like,
See
Just-
that a lot.
every fucking weird ass hitbox interaction. My shit doesn't fucking work. Like, on paper, I agree. Kung Lao, if he worked the way he's supposed to, he would be very cheap. He'd be very top tier.
Oh yeah, he'd be great.
But like, he doesn't work. Like, I don't even want them to nerf or buff my character. Just fix the things that are stupid so I can actually play the game the way you've designed it. And then I'll admit Kung Lao is top tier. Like, he's absolutely
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty reasonable to want him to work how he should.
right. But it's not downplaying, and I think everybody just kind of like looks at the game with emotions. They don't really think about like actual
Yeah,
logical
people-
stuff.
They think about what annoys them, not like what really makes characters good. They're just, and then going back around to like what Saki was saying with Jay, people just get annoyed because she'll zone them out or whatever. But it's just like if you're not getting irritated and trying to rush in and like not thinking before you do stuff, then yeah, she's gonna seem really good. Why? Because you're killing yourself. It's not her, it's you.
Well, I think that goes more to a problem with the way NetherRealm always designs zoning. They do zoning in a way that's brain dead, and I don't like it. And I really wish whoever's in charge of designing zoning characters would like chill out on that shit, because like NetherRealm's, their philosophy on zoning is like spam, and it's not really fun. Or like, dude, I don't want to watch a streamer that just jumps back and throws shuriken, even if that's the optimal way to play. I mean, I've helped other streamers. They're like, man, why don't I get any views? And I'm like, dude, because you play Kano and all you do is throw knives and backdash. Like, who wants to watch that? Like, I can push back, forward, square. I want to see some shit that I can't do. And you're supposed to be the streamer. Show me some shit I can't do. And like NetherRealm designs zoning like that, and I'm like, that's why I liked Cetrion for the longest time, because I was like, dude, finally they designed a zoner that isn't brain dead. Like, she has to think about every projectile she places on screen. They're very purpose-centric, right? Like, this goes here to cover this space, and I have to think that you will be there to put that there first. And then they gave her that fucking tornado shit, and it's like, oh, you went from having a fucking zoner.
No, they gave the tornado, and then they gave the rock wall.
Yeah, those are my problems. Yeah, the tornado. Oh my god, one of my friends that's a Cetrion main just picked up that variation.
It's stupid.
I hated life.
It's brain dead. Like, she's literally the dumbest character in the game.
If you told me it was just if it was just vines, sparks, and geysers, I agree with you, because in reality, and the boulders, I agree with you, because you have to either flawless block them so she doesn't do the geysers, or if you block the boulder, you're expecting the geyser, and like there's a little bit of a mind game with that. But when you add rock wall that has no recovery and an active hitbox, and that stupid tornado, I'm sorry, that character is brain dead.
Yeah. The fact that the only way to stop tornado spam is to flawless block the gap on 4-2-3 into tornado, yes. And that's it. That's it. If you can't flawless block that gap, you're basically like eating that, because what makes Cetrion so brain dead is that her best space control for the horizontal space move is standing 1, and her best anti-air is also standing 1. So she can literally just be in the neutral and hit... She can just hit 1-1 tornado the whole fucking match, and then like wait for you to get hit. And if you try to jump, 1-1 tornado catches you. If you try to push a button in the neutral, 1-1 tornado catches you. And you never get an opening on her. She's never open for anything other than like a down 4, because 1-1 is a high. But then she goes into 4-2-3 into tornado, and it's like, okay, well, can you flawless block it every single time? Never fuck up this flawless block, because this is the only opening you're getting on this character. Yep. She's literally a 3-button, 4-button character. Press square 2 times, then back, forward, circle until you win.
Yeah, and then if the Cetrion player is aware that you're going to blow up that flawless block gap, they can just not do it.
Right?
And that's the worst part, too. It's just like, it's such an easy option for them. Because literally, they only got to see you do it once. They see it once, and they're just like, okay, well, let's just use every other great tool that she has.
Right? Now I'm just going to grab you. And like, that's the problem with NetherRealm, is like when they design characters, they, especially in this game, they design a character to do one thing and be really well at that thing. And this is something that like Tom Brady complains about on every fucking video, is that like they're not complete characters. Like, every character is like a piece of a character, and like the pieces are there, but they're spread across 3 variations. So like, you can't be like a Liu Kang main, right? Or, well, the characters that are top tier are the ones that are complete characters, but like everybody else is like incomplete. And it sucks, because I wish they would not do that. Like, why is Sonya's entire game plan back, forward, square until they die? Like,
it's rings, and then when they get in, mix, but even when you try to mix them, back one's a high. She does have mids to check them with, but it's like...
But that's it. Like,
I've definitely seen areas where she struggles, especially with high-level play. So it's like, yeah, her mix might be kind of dumb, and she can zone pretty well, but it's like, character still has her problems.
She has problems, but her game plan is dumb. That's the problem, is like, you know, everybody says that Jade is like, you know, nerf Jade, do this and that. And it's like, yeah, Jade isn't the problem. The problem is that her game plan is dumb, right? Like, jump back shuriken and like spamming fucking ground fire, like, it works, and that's like all she can do. She didn't have a whole lot else. So like NetherRealm has said this is how you will play the character. This is what you have to do to win. Is just spam this shit, and people are like, that's not really fun. Like, it's not fun to just spam shuriken, and it's not fun to fight it. But at the end of the day, what else is she supposed to do? People complain about her down two. They're like, the down two is so stupid. They just spam it. All they do is just down two, and I'm like, what the fuck else is Jade supposed to do? Every one of her tools is shitty, right? Like, she doesn't have a whole lot. She can't even combo off of her down two. Like, if she catches you high in the jump, it's not like she's getting a low poke into a fucking special move like other characters can do with good down twos. Like, what the fuck else is she supposed to do? You need to not argue with, like, Jade players and argue with NetherRealm to not make characters so damn spammy. It's like, at least if a character was a zoner, I wouldn't have a problem with fighting zoners if they were trying to do it with multiple projectiles. You know, like how Cetrion theoretically should be. You know, it's like, oh, you were here. I controlled that space and I made the read, and now you're getting zoned. Like, nobody wants to sit there and just mash out a special move 5 times in a row.
And everybody likes to complain about Cetrion zoning when that's not even the worst part about her. Like, the worst part about Cetrion is everything else. Like, the people that complain about her zoning, it's just like, clearly somebody didn't fight Starfire and Injustice 2.
Right? If you're getting zoned by Cetrion, you're not very good, because it's not hard to get in on her.
Not being patient. Because it's not like, you know, like if they just do rock wall, that's where things get tough. Like, it's not the boulders and the geysers from full screen that'll get you. Now, don't get me wrong, she definitely shouldn't have that teleport. That teleport's kind of dumb. But it's still, like, that's not even the huge problem. It's like when you get closer to her, that's where the problem is.
I don't even think the teleport's all that bad. Right, like, to be honest,
if you're getting hit with the boulders, that's your fault.
To be honest, teleport's not even all that fucking good. Like, yeah, you spend the whole match chasing her down, but here's the problem. Her damage output is so fucking low that if she runs the whole fucking fight, like, eventually she runs out of space, and you're going to touch her. Yeah. And you're going to touch her harder than she's going to touch you.
Yeah, okay, but see, like, that's where you see, like, I get what you're saying, Badger, but, like, she has a get out of jail free card, and by the time I actually get to touch her, the timer is already done.
True.
Yeah, but
that's
a matchup issue, because Cetrion's not that hard to rush down. Like, once you get in on her, like, you can just harass her.
I beg to differ. I play the Indians, and we can't.
I mean, really once you do get in on her, rock wall.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but see, Rockwall is not part of her zoning, and Rockwall isn't an issue with the teleport. Like, you can't say teleport is cheap because of Rockwall. Like, teleport is not cheap. It's Rockwall that's cheap.
No. I'm not saying that it's cheap, but I am saying that it's a get out of jail free card with the other bullshit that we have to deal with. Right?
Yeah, but if they did something with Rockwall, teleport wouldn't be that bad.
No, that's where I'm saying that, like, if Rockwell wasn't such a huge issue and wasn't so strong, then again, like, we could rush her down. But when you even have like characters like Highborn, Jaded, and Splitting Hair Sindel, which is what's gonna hit hard, right, on a Cetrion. All right, and that's already 3 characters out of the roster. There's more. Like, you have to deal with all of that, and you still can't get in. Like, you can't touch her hard enough.
Yeah.
By the time the timer is done.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Compared to the rest of the roster, like, again, these are 3 Adinians, right? Obviously, they're strong in the zoning, right? And it's like what you guys were saying, how, like, they don't have the complete thing of the character, right? Because obviously, I'm taking away their zoning to replace some other feature that they have, right? But I can't say that the teleport isn't I can't say that the teleport isn't a problem, because it is a problem when I finally corner her and she can still get out of jail free card. It's not as bad as Raiden's, but it's a second, and it's still bad. Like, I can't react fast enough as much as I want to. And like, again, I compare it to Scarlet's teleport. They buffed it, but it's still good for me to, like, fight against, where I can say, okay, she got out of jail, but I can catch up to her. I can't catch up to Cetrion.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. As like part of a total kit, like she shouldn't have a teleport that good. But I would rather nerf the moves that are a problem and leave the teleport as it is. I don't think she should be able to do it out of the air. That's my issue with the teleport. Is
I
that
agree with that.
she
I
could
agree with
jump,
that too.
right? So like with Scarlet and with Raiden, there are strategies around the teleport because you know they can only teleport on the ground. So if they commit to a jump, there's no teleport coming. I can do things about a jump.
Yes.
But like with Cetrion, like she could do shit like jump 3 and cover herself, like jump back 3. So if I jump to catch her in the air, her jump back 3 is going to hit me. And then when the 3 whiffs, because I didn't jump to meet her up there, she teleports on the way down and now she's full screen. And it's like,
Yep.
what the fuck? I was trying to deal with this jump and like, at least if she had to be grounded to get the teleport, you could bait it. You could play around with that. Okay, she's jumping in the air. She can't teleport. Like, the fact that she can evade while evading, right? Because she jumps in the air to get away, and then she teleports while she's in the air, and now she's even further away, and you're just not getting in. But even then, I think her standing one is like the problem. The standing one and the tornado. I think the rock wall wouldn't even be a problem if standing one was a shitty anti-air because you could bait the rock wall and jump in.
You know, yeah, I guess I can kind of agree with that.
But the
because
thing
a lot of times people just do stay on one rock wall, whether you're jumping or not. And then if you just so happen to jump, it's like, oh hey, free conversion.
But I like the conversation we're having now is just an example of two things. Of one, how we can discuss about the character and actually have a discussion, and two, characters that we actually have to worry about that are actually the ones changing the game.
Right?
Not
Nobody's won money with Jade. I've watched you play a
Exactly.
tournament. You won all your money with Sindel.
It's true, and I actually, for anybody who's actually asking, like, I actually am putting Jade down for a bit to focus on Sindel, because Sindel's the one that's gonna win. And like I have to face it. I hate it. I really do, because I really want to win with Jade. I love Jade as a character, but I am not having fun in competing when I'm struggling with this character. So I'm putting her down to focus on Sindel.
Even then, like, Sindel's tough. I could never main Sindel. Like, I don't think that character's very good at all. Like, she's...
No, offline, definitely not. She just hasn't had a chance to perform offline.
In online,
Like,
Sindel can hit you with that fucking
offline,
25. Yeah, like, she could do that fucking 25 frame overhead online and hit people with it, but you're not landing that shit offline. Not against somebody good. If you're talking top of the fucking food chain,
No.
like you're not hitting that shit. And all of her shit is so easy to fucking punish, and she's so easy to either zone or rush down. Like if you get in on Sindel, she's so fucked. What is she gonna do? Down 1-1-1-2? Like what? I'm not fucking scared of that. And 1-1-2 is so hard to hit confirm into the fucking haircut. Like I'm not scared. You're gonna drop that. You're gonna overextend easy. It's not an easy hit confirm. And I could zone you out. And what are you gonna do? Fucking flip over me? Like, my projectile recovers before your hair flip gets to me, and then now I'm punishing you for fucking half your life. Like, Sindel is so bad. She's not good. I don't think she's good. That's my hot take.
That was pretty good. I feel like her neutral game just shits on a lot of the characters.
Yeah, but
her recent royal opinion.
The problem is there's like half of the roster is kind of good in the neutral. Like that's the problem with the diversity in the game is everybody's like kind of the same. It's like, well, what does Cassie do? Well, she can kind of zone, but she's all right in the neutral. What does Cetrion do? She can kind of zone, but she's all right in the neutral. What does Sindel do? Well, in Variation 3, she can kind of zone, but she's all right in the neutral. Like every fucking character is just all right in the neutral. What does Sindel do that Noob Saibot doesn't do better? Like, Noob Saibot's forward 2 is better than, as a neutral tool, it's better than anything Sindel's got. He just doesn't have the damage and an overhead. That's my hot take. Like, if
I
you
was
want
about to say something. I forgot.
well, like, if you want to play neutral, like, what does Sindel do that Johnny Cage doesn't do better?
Badger.
Like, if I wanted to play a character that was, like, really neutral heavy and just dominated the neutral, because Sindel's designed to be, like, aggressive neutral, right? She's in the mid-range, but she's aggressively harassing you in the mid-range. And it's like, what does she do that Johnny doesn't do? Because that's literally what Johnny does. She can do it from a little bit further out than Johnny, right? Her forward 2 and her forward 4 have better range than Johnny's forward 3 and back 3-4. That's about it. She's like a little bit longer range version of Johnny, but without the zoning. Whereas Johnny doesn't have the range on his normals, but he's got zoning, so fuck it.
Oh,
Like,
at the end of the day, we gotta worry about the actual stuff. You know, like
Yeah.
we gotta worry about stuff like when you are a content creator and you are a competitor and you are streaming and you are like you're basically like the face of the brand per se. Like you gotta take into consideration that not only are is like people are gonna look at what you say, but like you also have to take into consideration that we all gotta listen to each other and we gotta prioritize what we're saying. Like we can't just say nerf Jade and then not forget about Jackie. Like don't tell. I know that down force is like a bane of existence to Jackie, but this character, this I can't do that with the way that this character is set up. When that character is fixed, then we can talk about how the down 4 is really weak to like is really good to Jackie. But
well,
until then, I can't have that discussion with people like that. I can only have that discussion with you guys because you guys are my friends and
yeah.
actually listen to me and care for me. And so
Her down 4 isn't even all that good. Like, there's way, dude. Like, you could shimmy that
Frost,
shit.
Compare that shit to Frost and to Cabal's down 4,
right?
And it's like second or third.
Like, you can do that down 4, and I could shimmy. Like, dude, I bet Sub-Zeros just love the fucking fighting Jade. Oh, you want a down 4? Because I'm gonna back 3. I'm gonna back 3, and you have a hitbox because you're attacking with your fucking feet. So my back 3's hitting, right? Like, Frost's down 4 is far worse. Shao Kahn's down 4 is far worse. Like,
thank you.
Like, there are worse down 4s than Jade's. Jade's down 4 is a fucking, it's all right. Like, she gets, what, fucking 2% damage and, like, a little bit of space. Like, she gets a guaranteed back 2 check, but, like, you could just duck
Which
that.
Which can still be ducked, by the way. On
right? You could just duck it. It's like, oh, I ate it down 4. Okay, just duck. Like, there's no decision making.
No, I'm serious. I'm serious. But anyways,
like
that's a discussion on characters, right?
Right. What were you saying, Creative? You're breaking up.
Yeah, he was breaking up there.
Breaking up. How's it sound now? Is it all right?
You're good now.
It sounds better. Yeah.
Okay.
So
yeah.
that's it. Let's just move on to another topic before I tell some people off on like how they should listen, right?
Damn.
So we got word that Prince Panther's back in the scene, right? Obviously, there's some interesting spicy tea with that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we're gonna cover drama, aren't we?
Oh yes, we are. We're gonna cover drama, but I just want to like pass over real quick, and then I want to use this opportunity because there are a lot of good people in the community who are trying to bring some events up and coming, and I want to take this moment for you guys to understand not only what it means to run an event, but also how to do it properly, right? I feel like people who are running events are either doing it for the wrong reasons or they're doing it and they don't know how to properly run them, and it's really showing where it's risking their brand and their content.
Yeah.
So starting off, Prince Panther, okay, the prince of the NRS scene, you can say, I guess, has been under fire lately because Slayer, who was a supposed contract under Prince Panther, released a statement saying that Prince Panther did not pay his contract and his salary fees, and has also not paid other people in their winnings. And to make the long story short, Slayer and a couple of other people have come forward expressing how, like, where's the money? Where was the promises? Why are you keeping up? And then Prince Panther responded to a tweet saying, threatening someone on Twitter, as well as kind of disappearing for a couple of days, and now has come back to only say that he's not only going to offer money to people who are organizing the esports scene in the NRS, but now he's going to do an injustice cough today.
Yeah, that's
Lot
kind
to
of
unpack.
iffy.
Full disclosure, I talk to Prince Panther personally quite often, maybe once or twice a week. So, but also full disclosure, I've known Slayer for over a decade personally. So I want to say that I'm unbiased because it's two people that I have personal connections to, but like also that I am biased for both in a way. That's what I'm trying to say is
So
like I'm both biased and unbiased because I like them both equally.
So I just want to make it clear to everybody that this is not about going after someone. It's not about going after Slayer. It's not going after Prince Panther. It's going after the situation. Okay. On one end, Slayer first needed a signed contract and should have asked for a legal advice. Whenever anybody is signing in a contract or getting signed for an org, you should not be just signing and looking at the money and saying, oh, this looks good or this opportunity looks good, no matter if it's like the best promise ever. Okay, always, if you feel like you're in doubt, please go and reach out to people, because 9 out of 10 times the people who have come to me and actually asked me to review their contracts, it's like, dude, you need to be asking for more, or you need to ask for a compromise, because this doesn't look good. Okay.
Yeah.
So on Slayer's end, as much as he's out of like luck, because it does look like he may not be getting his money, I really hope he does, but hopefully it happens.
Yeah.
But when situations like this happen and the way that it went down, like, unfortunately he's out of like almost 1200 bucks. Okay, and he may not see that because of the international laws and the foreign laws, which brings me to the next point. If you are someone who is investing outside of the US and investing into players that are outside of your region, you must understand that there are different laws and different ways to get them paid. Okay,
Yeah.
while PayPal is a great tool, okay, it does not mean that is the only way. Okay, and PayPal has its restrictions. So if you're sending many transactions, PayPal is going to flag you based
Yeah,
on the
doesn't it kind of
US.
stop you?
Yeah, it does.
Yes.
Full
So
Yeah.
disclosure, I
PayPal.
worked at a bank for 10 years. This is my area of expertise.
Oh
See,
yeah, this
even
man.
like Badger knows. So like, if you know, sorry, rather, if
Yeah.
you have people who you are investing in outside of the US region or inside the US region, and you are not familiar with the different transactions, you have to ask. You have to be like more informed. Okay? Because at the end of the day, that's what's going to stop you. So people who haven't gotten paid or haven't gotten paid in time, that's probably what's happening if he actually has the money. Now, some people have come forward that he has actually paid. Yes, I am one of the people that he's actually paid. I'm not gonna, but that's not gonna count for what's happening. Like, my experience is not gonna count for what we're talking about here today, because it was a personal transaction that happened, that when I won my winnings, he gave it to me. But people still haven't gotten paid, and when they're asked, it's like a whole argument to get them paid.
Yeah.
So like, nobody's helping anybody. And what I want everybody to understand is that in this situation, we need to be smarter and we need to be better about it. So,
Yeah.
Well, I
for
think the
example,
mistake from both
yes,
sides. Go ahead.
yeah,
Never
I
mind.
agree. There is a mistake on both sides. There's a mistake on Slayer's part for both a contract and for uh I don't know how true it is about how he responded, but based on the screenshots, it's like not on his part. It was like a response that was aggressive, but he needed a contract so that when he, like, your contract is your receipt. When you bring that receipt up, that's a legal binding receipt, right? And if people don't have that receipt, then you kind of don't have any claims. So people can make false promises and then say, "Well, I never promised that." That contract
Actually,
with
that's
Yeah.
all
not
of your
true.
signatures,
That's
huh?
not entirely true. So in the state of California, verbal contracts are legally binding. So I mean, it depends state to state, but like if Prince Panther said he was going to give me $500 and I have it on stream and I can prove that he said that, then legally I can take him to court off a verbal agreement in California.
Okay, but you have the receipt. That's the point I'm trying to
Yeah,
make. You
yeah.
have the receipt.
The
It can't be
receipt.
just like you said it and then there's no receipt for it, because then it
Yeah,
becomes a he said she said
yeah,
type
you
of
have to
deal.
prove it obviously. Yes, yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you gotta make receipts, guys. You have to, like, regardless of the state. Again, like how Badger said, it could be voice, it could be a stream, it could be all of that. As long as there's proof that that is what is being asked and what the contract is, then that's okay. That's good. You did it, and now you can actually ask for your stuff back, right? And then on the side of Prince Panther, okay, I understand that there's an unfamiliarity of laws over here, but you can't just be giving out all that money, number one, to people who are desperate, because in some of the cases, some of these community members are desperate. Not saying Slayer, but just the majority of the community members. Um, but on the same token, you can't just be upset when someone asks, "Hey, where's my money?" Because at the end of the day, they
Yeah.
spent time and hours on a cause that you
Yeah.
asked them and you promised them money for.
Yeah. They
And
invested their time.
like, they're investing your time. They dropped everything to do what you were promising them to give. So it's like, again, it's a mixture of both ways. Now, my issue is with everything that happened between the threats and between how it's being handled and just like all of this like drama per se. When someone says, "Hey, here's funding for your event," always have again the receipts, and always and don't let money cloud your judgment. There are many, like when he posted like, "Oh, I'm gonna send $100 to the like to random people who reply on this tweet for their event, so that we can help support events." Like, that's great and all, but right now you're in hot water, number one, and number two, um if half of the community is like, "Oh yeah, he paid me. Here's the money. Give me the money." For fuck Slayer, fuck everybody else. Like, it's fine. Like, we're not standing together, and then your whole event becomes pointless because nobody wants to join in an event that like everybody is A, unorganized, and B, funded by someone who obviously hurt a valid member in the community.
Yeah.
Well,
So
go ahead. I'm being quiet because there's a lot that I will eventually say, and so I'm trying to let everyone else go first.
as an organizer and an event planner, when you are planning and organizing, you want to seek out the funding yourself and make the contracts yourself. You don't just want to reply to a tweet and say, "Yeah, I'll take that $100." Okay? No, create plan proposals, create event planning. When I'm doing this event, the Queen of the Hill series, and I've actually gotten sponsors not only from Team Dynamic, from Valkyries, from Combo Queens. I'm getting people. I'm actually reaching out to people like the NRS, other community gaming communities, actual sponsors like Grinding Coffee, Video Games New York. Like, I'm applying to everyone and everywhere so that I can actually make this event as pristine and amazing as possible. That's my job as a tournament organizer. Okay? For me to actually look out and seek out the funding and talk to people and network with valid people to help me with this.
Yeah.
I could do the same thing with Prince Panther, but I'm not going to do it over a tweet. And that's
Yeah.
what you guys shouldn't be doing. If you're organizing and you're planning an event, you need to actually have an actual proposal, an actual plan, actual links going, and actually sending it out to people and to other investors. Okay, because
Yeah.
this is a business. It's a business at the
Yeah.
end of the
It
day.
is.
And if you don't treat it as a business and you're just gonna take shortcuts, it's not gonna come out okay. It's not gonna be good. It's not gonna end well. Okay, those
Quick
hundred
on shortcut.
dollars I'll give you guys a heads up. People responding to that thread are actually closing doors. And this is not just one team or one other. Everybody looks at everything. So when orgs are looking
Yep.
for your like history, if they just see that you're just responding for free, like for free money, and even though your event could be the best event ever, if you're just trying to take a shortcut, they're not going to feel comfortable with investing into that event. Okay, every like people have to realize that doors can be closed super easily, and if you're not careful and you're not planning correctly, those doors get closed and they'll never open again, and you
Yep.
just lost opportunities.
Yeah,
So
like
when
it's
I
easy to
see
open the door, but it's even easier to slam that bitch shut.
so when I see people who are trying to organize exhibitions and tournaments and all this other uh, events that are happening, right? And their event isn't properly planned, properly organized, properly presented, they just close doors to people, right? If you can't handle your own event on your own, what is going to make an investor say to you, hey, here's money so you can handle this event? Here's my brand, here's my name, handle
Yeah,
this, right? You guys have to like understand that everything comes with a built of trust and a built of communication and networking. It is never via a tweet, and it is never via, hey, can I get some money? Doesn't
yeah,
work like that. Does not work like that. It can work, it'll work in that moment, but I can tell you right now, it's not going to end well. It does not end well. I've seen it all, and I've seen it like happen. So when you guys are out there creating your brand and creating this, and even applying to sponsorships too, like even applying to teams to sign you, like never do things without a receipt, number one, and number two, always remember that everything gets thoroughly investigated. If you have tweets that are just trying to take shortcuts, or even tweets that can look bad, you just close the door on yourself. And the last
yeah,
thing we need is a door closed on the NRSC. I'm done.
yeah. We don't have enough open as is.
Right, right. I mean, it's you have the experience and all that to back up everything that you're saying, and I agree 100%. Um, I mean, so first and foremost, like I know Slayer for a long time. I like Prince Panther. I haven't known him very long, but I do talk with him personally, and I have worked in banking for a decade. So I understand the issues that Prince Panther had with getting money over. I think where Prince Panther screwed up was in not explaining that. I think going forward, Prince Panther needs employees. He does it all by
I
himself,
agree.
and like if he wants to do it and make it a big thing, like he needs to incorporate and actually like
Like
go
it's a
and
tough thing, dude.
and he needs employees to handle that shit, and like he just handles it on his own because this is just a very expensive hobby for him, which is fine. If that's if that's all he wants to do with it is have it be an expensive hobby where
Yeah.
he kind of throws cash at his friends to play video games, that's cool. But I get the impression that he kind of wants it to be more. So like he needs a staff, and he needs to like if he were to have told these guys that are complaining about their money, hey dude, there's issues with fucking sending money across the fucking Atlantic Ocean, please be patient. Like if he would say that, I'm sure it would quell some, not all, but some of the negativity around it. Some people are just ignorant and they don't fucking know, and they're not going to care. But other people will understand. The issue with Slayer specifically, and I've talked to Prince Panther, I've talked to other people. The problem is breach of contract. So those contracts had certain stipulations attached to them that you had to fulfill in order to receive payment. And Slayer, in his own twitlonger, admits that he did not fulfill a lot of his contractual obligations, and that's why Prince Panther isn't paying him. And so a lot of people that are shitting on Prince Panther, it's like, yeah, I get it, dude. I love Slayer too, but even he admits that he didn't fulfill every obligation. And in court, right? So the court of Twitter is just going to think emotionally and be like, you screwed over my buddy Slayer. And like in the court of law, if Slayer were to pursue this, like he doesn't have a lot of grounds to stand on for some of it. Now, for the $1,000 he won in the tournament, yeah, he could probably lawyer up and take Prince Panther to court for that. But as far as the things he was promised as a contracted player, the fact that Prince Panther changed the amount from 600 to 400 or whatever, like, you signed that contract. If you didn't want less money, you shouldn't have signed for less money. As far as like upholding your end of the argument, yeah, he did give you less money than he initially said, but you signed the contract and you are legally obligated to fulfill certain criteria. And according to Prince Panther, Slayer did not. And according to Slayer, in his own twitlonger, Slayer did not. So I don't understand how people are shitting on Prince Panther for refusing to pay Slayer. They had a contract. They both agreed. Prince Panther agreeing by making the contract and Slayer agreeing by signing it. And so when Slayer does not fulfill his end of the contract, how is Prince Panther in the wrong? This is what I'm having an issue with, is like, okay, dude, I don't like that Slayer got screwed too. Like, I like the guy. He's my buddy. Like, I will ride or die for Slayer. But I'm also level-headed enough to know, like, dude, you violated contract. You didn't uphold your obligations. As a friend, would I be a good friend if I just fucking sucked your dick and told you were right? No. Like, I should be, as your friend, I should tell you where you fucked up. Okay, in the contract and in Slayer's twitlonger, he was obligated to stream X number of hours for X number of days while he was under contract. He admits he did not because he was embarrassed that his stream was on the basic-ass PlayStation 4. He wanted to wait till he got a PC with OBS and alerts and all that. I get it. I'm a streamer too. I get it. But at the end of the day, the contract said this. Legally, you are bound to that. You didn't do that, so Prince Panther didn't want to pay you. And that's what nobody's looking at. And it's like, Prince Panther isn't wrong. He is wrong for holding back the tournament winnings. All right, I'll give you that. Like, that contract said, play in this tournament, get this place, you will get money. Slayer did that. As far as his contract as a member of Team Panther, those days that he didn't stream when he contractually promised to do so, that puts him in violation of the agreement. And Prince Panther could legally take him to court if he wanted to. And if Slayer were to take Prince Panther to court, he wouldn't. It wouldn't. I don't think it would go very well for him. And people are thinking with their emotions and not looking at it objectively.
Logically and objectively. I agree with you. Again, like the situation is a fault on both parties, and it's just the proof that that people are not thinking correctly. And it's like you said, part of the situation, and in future situations can be solved between Prince Panther having more employees, making stipulated demands, obviously ensuring that things happen, and of course, again, making sure that that when it comes down to payments, that it happens and it's not an argument every time. And I think that between the mixture of everybody thinking about Slayer and then also seeing how Prince Panther responded, it obviously puts like a bad taste in everybody's mouth. And instead of people actually like trying to, like what we're doing now, instead of actually saying, hey, this is what you can do to make this better, Slayer, you needed to understand why he's not paying. Here's the reason. Prince Panther, here's this reason of why you shouldn't just go and say whatever you want. We end up having people like automatically just going back for money.
Well, and what's the issue with this Prince Panther threatening people? Because I've seen the tweet and like I don't see any like problem. So somebody like said some shit about Prince Panther's dad, and Prince Panther said, if you ever talk about my dad again, I'm gonna fucking shoot you in the face. Like, I don't see that as a bad thing. Like, yeah, dude, if you're gonna talk about somebody's dead dad, then yeah, he's gonna fucking get pissed off and say some shit. Like, unless there was some other tweet that I didn't see.
But okay, see, but I have a problem with it, because if he's supposedly this leader of the community, he shouldn't be reacting like that. He shouldn't be reacting. He's valid for being angry, but at that point he could have made the choice of just ignoring it or making a statement of like, hey, I'm gonna take a break because of X, Y, and Z, or hey, please don't say this because that actually hurt, like that. Like, there's a way
but
to
you're gonna
actually
feed the trolls.
Way better.
It's easy to say keep a cool head when it's not your dead dad. Like, when somebody's gonna attack you in that way.
but Badger, like I've been told stuff like that. Like I've been told and actually like been trolled like that hard, both on my stream and in game and on Twitter. Like, but I can't, like you just said, you can't feed the troll. So don't push it to that point, because again, if you're claiming that you're this leader of the community, we're not saying he's wrong for the anger. Like he has every right. We're saying that he took it too far, and that is where the backlash is coming from. So he was better off just not responding and just getting off Twitter the rest of the day.
Yeah, but the
Yeah,
the,
especially
the
with him
issue
being
that
such a
I
prevalent
have,
figure.
the issue that I have is because I'm looking at it from the perspective of Prince Panther as a person, and
yeah.
the perspective is like, fuck you. This is my money that I'm using, and I don't have to give any of you assholes any of it. And you're gonna talk about my dead dad and be disrespectful like that? Like, fuck you all. And that's the thing, is we were this close to having Prince Panther bail because somebody wanted to say fucked up shit about his dead dad. And he doesn't have to do anything. He doesn't have to do any of these events. We didn't really respect or appreciate what he was doing. And I'm like, yeah, dude, like and then to get on him, like the guy is literally a charity case. Everything he is doing for this community is charity. He doesn't have to. He does it because he wants to, and he can quit at any time. And we repay him by A, shitting on his dead dad, and then B, when he gets mad about it and lashes out in a way that most of us would, we're sitting there and saying, oh, well, you're toxic and you're trying to kill people. And it's like, well, fuck you. I'll be toxic with my millions of dollars in my fucking mansion, and you can have nothing. And that's what people aren't looking at.
So I do want to make it clear that the tweet was more about him growing up spoiled, and then that's when he mentioned about using dad's money. Okay. But again, it doesn't make it right. But I'm pointing out that again, he has a valid to be angry at the response, but just
Two wrongs
because
don't make
he's
it right.
giving exactly 2 wrongs don't make it right, and just because he's giving out this money doesn't mean he has the right to be saying, hey, I'll put a bullet through your head. It's still a threat.
But see, there's no empathy.
No matter the content. No, there is an empathy, Badger, but I can't tell you, like I can't go to you and say like you tell me something really fucked up, right? And I respond back. If I say something, my words are going to be judged harshly, especially with the way that I am with the community. And the same thing with you too. People didn't look at what the other guy said, because what Prince Panther said was worse. And in addition to that, he is a leading member of the community. There's a line, this goes back to respect. There's a line that needs to be drawn. And if people don't understand that line on both sides, then it gets out of hand, and we can't hold people accountable. I'm not saying that he's not wrong, or sorry, I'm not saying that he's wrong to feel angry. He has every right, but you can't just react like that.
Well, I'm not saying that what he said was a good thing. I'm saying that right now the community is basically complaining that they put their hand in a snake pit and got bit. Like, dude, you said shit about his dead dad. You didn't expect him to respond fucking pissed off? You wouldn't respond pissed off? You wouldn't say something in the moment? And, like, people are, like, acting like he's some kind of fucking paragon. I'm like, dude, he's a guy. You said shit about his dead dad. Yeah, what he said was wrong, but you should have known better than to fucking put your fucking hand in a snake den and expect to not get bit. And, like, we can't sit here. It's easy to judge him and say you shouldn't have said that after the fact. It's easy to sit there and say, oh, you shouldn't have let your emotions get the best of you. But, like, who among here will cast the first stone, right? Everybody's got that one thing. And people aren't looking at Prince Panther as a fucking human being. They're looking at him as a fucking ATM. And it's like, dude, he said something wrong. But, like, at the end of the day, was what he said, like, it was a response to something that was just as bad. I think sitting there and disrespecting someone's dead fucking family is just as bad as making death threats. Because at the end of the day, is Prince Panther going to actually fly to the States and shoot someone in the face? Probably not. I mean, you don't know that. But
it is the same thing when someone is super aggressive and toxic on an offline event, and you don't know what that person's gonna react to. You don't know. For all you know, someone who is teabagging you at an offline event can literally get super angry and actually beat you up. So why again, the point of the discussion is that a line was crossed and someone reacted with an extremity. Okay, and it's not right. Nobody is right in this situation, and we've all agreed that people are looking at Prince Panther as a ATM and not looking at it with an actual, like, hold up, let me do this the right way, or B, let me actually get to know the guy and actually be human about it. But there's still lines that are being drawn, and like, nobody's handling the situation correctly. Nobody's handling and like being respectful and like actually, like, again, another perfect example, someone at the Madden tourney got upset, took a loss, and then ended up shooting someone. We don't know who
Yeah, but
Prince Panther is, no
the
matter
thing
how many,
is, you're
like,
you're comparing random occurrence with something that is a consequence. So, like, Prince Panther wouldn't have said shit if you didn't talk about his dead dad. And there's no reason to shit on somebody's dead dad other than to try and get a reaction like that out of him. So that's the issue that I'm taking is like, yeah, what he said was wrong, but fuck, dude, have some fucking common sense. You're going to talk about somebody's dead dad and then expect them not to say some stupid shit in response? What were you trying to accomplish? Like, that person is a piece of shit because they were you don't say that shit as jokingly or as not. You're saying something like that specifically to rile someone up in that, like, in that direction. That person is a piece of shit because, like, you wouldn't say something about someone's dead dad unless you were specifically trying to force them to say some shit that they're going to regret later. Prince Panther got set up. And, like, yeah, he responded wrong, but, like, I can't really fault the guy for responding wrong when what was done to him was totally worse because they were setting him up. They were looking for a way to fuck with him. I'm going to say some shit that's going to get you fucking triggered, and then when you're triggered, I'm going to take advantage and pounce.
Yeah,
That's fucked up. That's fucked up.
Like,
To sit there, if you want to shit on him, shit on him. Say, yeah, Prince Panther, you're an idiot, and I don't like you, right? But when you sit there and say, yeah, you're only what you are because you're fucking daddy and you're a spoiled brat and your dead dad made you who you are, like, come on now. You're telling me there weren't fucking far more nefarious intentions in that?
hold up, 1 second, looking for something, give me a minute.
Like,
Oh, yeah,
I agree what he said was wrong, but I agree that you don't fucking kick a hornet's nest and expect to not get stung. And everybody's mad now about getting stung by a hornet, and it's like, dude, you fucking kicked the nest. Like, why would you say that?
Like, for me personally, it's like, he's human, you know? It's like, of course he might have responded not how he should have, you know? It's like,
But
it's
he
like what you said,
responded like a
who wouldn't-
human.
Like, who wouldn't be pissed off? But
Yeah.
my only thing is, though, it's just like, if you want to be a prevalent figure in a community, it's kind of like, you need to have that little second thought about how that could possibly taint your image depending on how you respond. But at the end of the day, I'm not upset at Prince Panther for responding the way he did, but it's just like, it'll probably serve as a lesson maybe for future times that somebody
Well,
tries to fuck with him like that.
I think it's
You know,
more of a
'cause he
lesson
needs
for the
to consider
community.
his position in the community.
Because here's
You
the
know what
deal.
I mean?
He's under no obligation. He could just leave.
Yeah, he could. But
And,
it's like,
like,
if you want to be a prevalent figure, you have to
you're not gonna
consider
win.
your actions and what you say.
But what I'm saying
Okay,
is people
let
are
me-
not
let
going to
me-
win. Like, at the end of the day, the dude is fucking super rich. Like, if he leaves, he loses nothing. We lose
Maybe
everything.
Give me a minute. I'm gonna read from the very beginning.
Oh yeah, go on ahead.
Prince Panther. Total amount spent on the MK11 scene since March 12th. The amount, which was like 49,000. Amount that he made off of the game, $0. Yeah, sure, I'm the best scammer in the business. LMAO. That was his initial tweet. Zyfox says, so you don't owe anyone any money at all for a contract that you had with them. If you feel betrayed and you are not going to pay because of that, actually, hold up 1 second so everybody can take a look at it as well. Because of that, just say that then. If you did say you were going to pay someone, then choose not to because of whatever reason. Then yeah, you scan them, lol. This is the beginning of the interaction. Some rando, and then Zyfox continues with the conversation on that rando. Then why did you not give what he said he was going to give to his players on his team? Are you saying we shouldn't give them shit because he's already given so much? Just do what you say you're going to do. It's really that simple. He goes on to say, and then this is where Prince Panther comes back. Who the fuck is this guy? Who are you, my guy? Do you have anything pending with me? And that's when Zyfox says, let me ask you a question. While you're here, did it ever occur to you that the people you had a contract with relied on this money? You'll say, I give you 400. a month for XYZ. Then it takes you months to pay. PayPal isn't the only thing that exists, my guy. Cash App and Zelle. Prince Panther says again, the moron makes a fool of himself. Look up all these options if they're available for Saudi Arabia, which I understand Prince Panther saying that because not all of the options are there. What an idiot. That's, for me, that's the first, like, that is the first stone at the insult there. But let me continue. Zyvox says, you like to call people names, but did you get anything yourself in your life, my guy? You're a man-child with an allowance that's been living in daddy's palace since he was born. You don't understand what it is to struggle. Fuck off, my guy. Pay your ex-team. He did not know about the dead father until Prince Panther says, first of all, never had anything against you, but no, I do, you low-life scum. You ever mention my dead father on your mouth again, I will literally hunt you down and put a fucking bullet in your head. Other than that, the way I spend my money is my business, you piece of shit. Fuck you, burn in hell. This is the response that should have just stayed in the DMs or should have not been said at all. He should have just ignored him. Because again, what Zyfox and what every other person is addressing in Prince Panther's tweet is why was the money not given? Not, if we take away what happened with Slayer, there are other people who are still owed money. Okay? And it got the first
There's a lot of people that are owed money, to my knowledge, is that there's like at least 10 or 12 people that still haven't been paid.
Yeah.
But again, I'm
like
not
somewhat quiet because it's like I haven't really been seeing too much of it on Twitter, so it's like I'm not super intelligible in the situation, so I'm kind of just like hearing y'all out.
Well, here's the deal. Okay, going back to what Zyfox said. First of all, this touches back on the point that you brought earlier, in that a lot of community leaders, quote unquote, in our community are arrogant and will fucking just say some shit out of arrogance. And so Zyfox sticking his head in, does he owe Zyfox money? He does not. So why does it matter to Zyfox? Why is he getting involved? Because he thinks he's some kind of community leader and can speak for other people. When Prince Panther was saying, and backed up by Slayer, he didn't pay a lot of people because they didn't fucking fulfill their end of the contract. Did Zyfox know that? No, he didn't. But he also started running his mouth when he didn't have all the facts. Second of all, it goes back to what I said. Why would you even bring up Prince Panther? If you're talking about a business transaction and business ethics, why are you bringing up his family and talking about how he was raised, other than to try to get a rise out of him? Like, there's no reason to mention that in that conversation. If you're just trying to expose Prince Panther for being a scammer, what does his parents and the way he's raised and grown up have to do with anything other than to say that specifically to get under his skin, to cause him to say some shit that he's going to regret, which he regrets, because he said, we all agree that what he said was wrong. But Zyfox is still equally, if not more so, wrong for agitating specifically. There's no reason in that conversation to say what he said other than to agitate.
At the end of the day, it is important for everyone to understand that when you guys are in an agreement or in a situation like this, that it is treated with professionality and with receipts.
Yeah,
okay?
pretty much everything rolls down to everybody being unprofessional.
Exactly.
That's really the core issue here.
And if you are running events or if you are accepting money in any form, let it be with an actual agreement and an actual like validity, with like actually proposals and shit like that. Don't just respond to tweets for free money, because at the end of the day, again, it closes doors and it's gonna put you in situations that are not good.
Yeah. Well, also take into consideration the fact that like this is not Prince Panther's business, and people are expecting him to run his organization like a professional esports organization, and this is a hobby for him. Like, this is not a job. He is under no obligation to be, like, if his reputation takes a shit, he doesn't care. At the end of the day, he's going to go back to his fucking mansion and live his millionaire lifestyle and not give a shit. So I think people are trying to hold him to these rules and standards of accountability that just don't exist. Like, we're playing two separate games, okay? We're playing chess and he's playing Pogs.
What is Pogs?
It's a very, very simple game from back in the ancient times of ye old 90s. But like, okay, so fucking Prince Panther is playing fucking hopscotch, right? Like, we're playing chess and he's playing hopscotch and he doesn't care. And people are trying to like have their aha, I got you moment. And it's like, dude, at the end of the day, you're not winning. And this was something that I was about to say a second ago is you're not beating Prince Panther. If you're trying to do all this and shit on him and ruin his name and expose him and make him look like a bad person, at the end of the day, you're still not going to win. At the end of the day, he's still fucking rich and he's going to go live his rich lifestyle and you're still going to be some scrub lord on Xbox trying to fucking make money as a pro gamer. So at the end of the day, who's winning and who isn't? This cancel culture is ridiculous. We're trying to cancel Prince Panther and it's not going to work. He is immune to being canceled because he doesn't give a shit. It's not like you're going to fucking, he's never going to get another movie role. It's not like no one's ever going to, if nobody ever enters another Prince Panther tournament, do you think he honestly gives a shit? So, like, what is our intention? What are we trying to accomplish? Because at the end of the day, it seems like what we're trying to accomplish is just petty jealousy that he gets to live a life that we don't, and we're mad about it, so we're going to fucking take pot shots at him on a personal level just to fucking get our fucking mad at being 1 or 99%er at him, which is stupid. Yeah. It's stupid and illogical.
Petty.
It's petty. Like... What the fuck point did Zyfox have to say any of that shit or to even get involved in the conversation in the first place? And I say this as a fan of Zyfox. I listen to his podcast all the time. I subscribe. I've been listening to it for years. But, dude, you're wrong. You're wrong. You had no right to be in that conversation. You were not going to serve any purpose. Nothing good was going to come of it. And the fact that you took it in a personal direction is your own fault. You should accept the consequences of fucking sitting there and making fun of a dead foreign international diplomatic dignitary. Okay? Like, you need to own up to that. You brought up some dude's dead dad and he happens to be a fucking royal fucking family member. You need to own up to the consequences of starting that shit. Don't write checks your ass can't cash. Because when you get fucked up, if Prince Panther was one of those crazy people that shot Zyfox in the face, say it's all true. And he does fly to America and shoot Zyfox in the face. Well, what the fuck did you think was going to happen, dog? You're dealing with a fucking prince. You think the laws apply to him? You think he gives a shit? Maybe shut your mouth and watch what you say.
Yeah.
Again, it all comes down to it comes down to two wrongs don't make a right, and people just need to treat more situations with respect.
People need to think before they run their mouth is really what it is. Because you don't sit there, you don't walk into a bar and call the biggest, strongest guy a fucking piece of shit, okay? You're smarter than that. You're like, that guy's big and strong. If I say some stupid shit, he's going to fuck me up. Yeah, he's wrong for fucking me up, but that doesn't stop me from getting fucked up. Keeping my mouth shut is what stops me from getting fucked up. So yeah, Prince Panther was wrong for threatening to kill Zyfox. But you know what, Zyfox? You should have known better than to fucking talk about somebody's family. You didn't know he was dead. You didn't need to know he was dead. There's no reason to talk about it. No reason for that conversation to go in that direction at all other than to agitate and start shit. And when you start shit and shit rolls down on your face, you have nothing to do but sit there and smile and fucking eat that shit because you shouldn't have opened your mouth. Shit doesn't get in your face if you don't open your mouth.
All right.
But that's just my take on that. Like,
I don't have much take. I don't be on Twitter.
This is why I'm usually not on Twitter. I usually don't talk to people. I don't interact because like that kind of, I know better than to fucking open my mouth. I go on Twitter and I tell fucking fart jokes and act like a fucking clown, and it makes my viewers laugh and they think it's funny, and that's about all the interaction that I'm going to do because people, it's a problem with this generation, it's a problem with this society. People run their fucking mouth and they don't know when to shut up. And then their mouth gets them into trouble, and then they don't know how to get out of it, and now they want to run to Twitter to cancel somebody to get their mouth out of trouble that they shouldn't have gotten into in the first place.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's neither here nor there. Again, I'm old school. I come from an old school mentality of there are consequences for running your mouth, and I guess that mentality is far and away dead in this day and age. But that doesn't
not
mean...
even just for running your mouth, just for your actions in general. A lot of people don't like to take accountability.
Pretty much, like, and at the end of the day, what is accountability? Like, okay, dude, say everybody is right about Prince Panther and he gets canceled. Nobody goes to his events. His whole esports team is ruined. Like, does it even fucking matter? Like, at the end of the day, he's a prince and there's nothing anybody can do about it. Like, he gets canceled and no one ever goes to any of his tournaments. Okay, so he's just going to sit on his fucking mansion and sip martinis with his fucking pet leopard. Like, what did you gain? What did you win? You won nothing. You have accomplished nothing. All you did was alienate somebody who was doing basically a charity job. All you did was alienate a charity.
Wait, would you think a pet leopard, we can name him Spotty? Get it?
Party hard hard.
If I had a pet leopard, I would name him the Khan. I would name him Totemic. I would name him Buff Totemic.
I would probably give it a name that's like doesn't even correspond to the fact that it's a leopard. I'd probably name him some shit like Jeffrey or something.
Right.
I would call him Scotty because it rhymes with
Jeffrey the
Spotty.
leopard.
And that's the end of our show, guys. That was and what was it, an hour and a half?
Right.
More?
Right.
Oh my god, I wasn't even at the time, to be honest. Kind of flew by, even though we went
We're never
overtime.
on time, and we never finish on time.
Well, it's because our channel, our podcast says the shit no one else does. Every other MK podcast is going to be like, you know, like even Tom Brady's podcast themselves. They're like, dude, I'm tired of bitching about Jackie. Let's talk about something other than Jackie, right? Like, we're actually saying the shit, right? I'm sticking my neck out saying, I already know I'm going to catch shit for saying Zyfox was wrong, right? But, you know, no one else is saying that stuff. It's just us. So when we are the only ones saying the things that everyone else fucking thinks but won't say, well, we kind of run over time because there's a lot of shit no one else will say.
Instead of calling ourselves the Kombat Rat Pack, we should call it the Kombat Hot Takes.
Right?
I mean,
Rabble Rouser. The Rabble Rousers. I wear that name or that distinction with pride. I'll start some shit. I'll say some shit. I'll tell people they're wrong and they're stupid. And I'll tell them to their face. I'm not scared of anybody. Fucking cancel me. What are you going to do? Take away my Twitch with my fucking 20 viewers? You ain't taking shit from me. I don't give a shit. I will say shit. I just wish the rest of the NRS community had them kind of balls. Just wish everybody had the balls, but they don't. So that gives us that gives us a job still.
It's true. All right, guys. That was a good discussion. Until next week.
Very cathartic again. Very cathartic.
I like today. It was spicy.
It was
Right,
spicy.
right.
It's like I've been saying like spicy, but like where it's like spaced out. Listen, I'm bored. It's quarantine. Leave me alone. All right.
Yeah, I can't be mad.
You guys can follow me at Saki Sakura TV on like all the socials. There you go.
There we go. Same thing for me. SoCal Honey Badger. You just type it as one word. You'll find me. It's not social. It's not horny. It's very simple. Why does everyone fuck it up?
Oh Lord.
And I'm just Creative Royalty on most platforms except for Twitter because it was already taken. Creative sucks. So there's that. That's my Twitter. Oh, and as a side note, since she had asked me to, y'all should check out Asuna. She's a very good Garrus player, and she beat my ass twice now. So
Damn,
yeah.
you're giving shout outs on your own show. She's not even here. You simping. You simping. Creative, I thought you had a girlfriend. Why are you simping?
I do.
He's
But she asked for the request, so I was like, why not?
Mm-hmm,
Can't hurt.
She
Bye,
follows
you
me
two.
and Saki and didn't
Hey.
fucking request. She didn't say anything to you, Saki? Nope, she didn't say anything to me either. Mm-hmm.
I mean,
In my
she was
hair.
in my chat. I would have shouted her out. She's a really good Garrus player. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but see,
She
me
better
and Saki.
Asuna, you better participate in the Queen of Hill series. I better see your name in signups because you deserve to be there and you deserve to show off that Garrus because it's pretty good. So
Watch your
don't
sign
make
up
me
and then-
hunt you down, girl.
Oh,
I will hunt you down.
Nah.
Anyways, bye.
You guys are
Love you
simping.
guys. See you. Bye bye.
As soon as free. I'll see you guys later. That's the end of the show. All right.
Yes, sir. I'll
Thanks
catch
for
y'all later.
stopping by.
Yeah,
I'll see you
y'all
later.
matter.
I got a King of the Hill to start myself. So thanks for stopping by, Creative and Saki. Well, Saki already left, but thanks, Creative.
Yeah. Later.
Later.